guys, it's been a minute. If we don't know each other yet, my name is Mia, and this is where I post all of my music and things that I write and music that I make. I'm so happy you're here. I'm happy to share this stuff with you. This is not one of those videos. If you want to watch one of those videos, I will link them right now. I've got tons of demos and acoustic things and covers and originals, so if you want to go listen to some music, please go listen to some music. But I was in a really good habit at the beginning of this year of making videos to tell you guys about just music things that were happening, things that weren't happening, the goals that I was reaching and not reaching, trips I was going on, and exciting things that were happening. And I kind of fell off from that in March. It has been really difficult to put as much time into making content as I did back then. And kind of just had to reel it back a little bit because I was spending so much time making content, not nearly enough time pushing towards the ultimate goal of putting my music on Apple Music and Spotify and performing and things like that, which at the end of the day, I would love for my social media content to reach you guys and for that to be the thing that is the catalyst for all of my music. But there's a lot of hard work that has to go into it outside of just posting on Instagram and YouTube, and I had to start prioritizing that. So obviously, if you've been keeping up with everything, you've seen that I've continued to post a ton on Instagram and TikTok and now Pinterest, actually. So I haven't really spoken to you guys necessarily about everything that I've been up to since March. So I wanted to just pop in because you're going to start to see a couple things that I'm planning on filming and telling you guys that I would like you to be updated on. As far as music goes, I have been really trying to prioritize researching studios. I spent a lot of time trying to decide how I wanted to go about recording this first EP. I wasn't sure if I wanted to work with a lone producer and then a lone mixer and then a lone masterer, or if I wanted to do it all out of one studio. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it really close to where I lived or over in LA. And so I spent some time researching all of these things, and I kind of started out by researching producers and mixers that work for artists that I really enjoyed. And I think I had much too wide of a scope there. I like a lot of unpopular artists, but I think what I was drawn towards were the producers and the mixers that I saw multiple times throughout my list, meaning that a lot of artists had worked with them. The thing that didn't really quite click right away was that those people are kind of a hot commodity. Obviously, I want my music to be amazing and to sound exactly like it has in my head. Just the best trajectory for me would not be to try to go that route. I would be better suited to someone a little bit more on my level. I started looking for just independent producers, and that was kind of a failure as well because it's really hard to find independent producers unless you are looking at artists that you enjoy and whose work you admire. It's pretty much just Instagram stalking, and that really drained me really quickly. So I was doing a lot of the research for those two things, for two popular producers and then not popular enough producers, that just every time I spend an hour looking for producers, it just drained me so badly. And I kind of ended up throughout all of May, maybe, not really researching at all. And that was really frustrating because if you'll go back and watch my March recap, I was like, I've tried one thing and it didn't work out, but I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna find something. And I quickly realized this is not as easy as it looks or sounds or seems. And I kind of had to reframe my mindset from one that was just so eager to get it done to one that was willing to take the time to really strategically research and to not settle for anything, to actually find the person or the people that understand my music. So now that I've spent so much time looking for that thing, I'm much more wary to say that I found it or it's happening, because I understand now how tricky it is to actually decide on something. About a month or 2 months ago, I started researching studios who have their own team I could work with just in one place that was more consolidated. I started out by looking around my area and was really just hoping for convenience in that. I emailed with a couple of studios and just didn't really feel like any of them were really gonna understand the music that I'm making. I kind of tapered off from those places and started looking throughout the country. I would just do it state by state, looking at every single studio that Google had to offer. Continue to come up with a lot of nothing. I've looked as far out as Chicago, Nashville, even LA, even London, and just really struggled to find some things. So I'm still not completely sure I have an answer for you. I'm taking a couple of steps forward. There are one or two studios that I did feel like I could be confident enough in. I'm gonna be touring a studio pretty soon to see if that's something that might be a good fit. One thing I know is that putting all of my eggs in one basket only really leads to disappointment. Listen to my song Ego Injuries if that isn't something that you've learned. That's where we're at with making the EP. It still is so very much in the works. It's just much slower than I expected it to be, but it's still completely happening, still ultimately the goal, and I'm still working towards it every single day with every reel that I make and every dollar that I make. As a refresher for all of us, the ultimate plan after the music gets produced and mixed and hopefully mastered is to work with one of my close friends to make probably 2 music videos if we're lucky. Once those are made, I will be working on releasing it. All of these things are in the works. I want to do it like a really professional release, which I'm sure I'm going to look back at this video and just think, how naive. But we get to go on this journey together at the very beginning of it, and I'm excited for that. So that's what's coming soon, as long as we can just get this produced. So I appreciate your encouragement and your prayers in that, and hopefully I'll be able to tell you that it's been produced very, very soon. I've still been making a bunch of content. I have been making a ton of reels for you. I've been working on TikTok, which has been very slow going. TikTok really hasn't been picking up anything I've been putting down, and I've been trying to work on my strategy with it and learning, what does well and what doesn't. But it's a never-ending struggle, and social media, I've realized, is really more fickle than we think. It's been kind of a dry season on pretty much every social media. I was getting 5,000 to 6,000 views on all of my videos for a while, and then now we're down to around 1,000, which is a little bit discouraging, but I know that since I'm making the exact same type of content that I was, it's a lot of the algorithm, but I don't want to blame everything on the algorithm, and I'm working on creating things that people enjoy seeing. I've just been plugging away at it, no matter the disappointment or the discouragement. I'm continuing to post regular content on Instagram and TikTok, and now Pinterest as well, which has been doing better than I expected it to. Not nearly as well as Instagram, but better than TikTok. I've also been making my weekly YouTube videos with songs for you, and there are tons of those since the last time I gave you one of these update videos, so you should go and check them out. They're also, almost all of them are on SoundCloud, so the newer ones I've been doing without commentary at the end, so that you can just listen to them through in true Adam Melcher style. If you want to listen to the older ones without that commentary at the end, you can check them out on SoundCloud, and that gives you a little bit of a smoother listening experience. And one day they'll be on Spotify and iTunes as well. As far as my life goes, there's been a lot of change, and I think that's partially why you haven't seen so much from me. So in around May, I was presented with the opportunity to move about an hour and a half away from where I was living before. My family ended up having the immense privilege of getting a summer home, which may become our only home, but that's a different story. I had to make the decision of whether I wanted to stay back where I was living before and continue with the nannying that I was doing, or to move out here and make a new life out here. And I ultimately decided to move because my family would be spending most of the summer here, so I wanted to just be with them. And I also kind of felt like having a fresh start, doing a new job, being in a new place, would kind of allow me to be a little bit more involved, especially because since it's a summer home, this is kind of a place where a lot of people come for the summer. So it'd be a little bit easier to start fresh because so many people would be. Since all I really had back where I was living before was a job, I thought it might be nice to come out here and to not only have a job, but also church and maybe some friends. It's definitely much farther from a city. There's much less to do around here, but since it is kind of a summer location, it's pretty hoppin', even though there's little to do. That's kind of the appeal of it, that it's quiet. I started waitressing, which has been definitely a new adventure, but I've really enjoyed the change of pace. I think I still love kids, and I do still babysit and nanny on the occasion, but the ability to interact with people my age, both as employees and then as the clientele, is just something that is really nice for me, and I appreciate the consistency of it. It's always the same hours, and I generally know how much I'll be making, which isn't something that I necessarily had with nannying. So that's really nice, and I love working at night too. I only work nights really, and it's so nice to spend the entire morning and afternoon just working on music and pouring all of my creative energy into that, and then using whatever little energy I have left for work, putting all of my energy into what really matters to me at the beginning of the day is something that's really been a blessing. And then I also have had the opportunity to get involved at church. You know, I'm still very, very far from being fully rooted in that place, but just to be able to have a church community again that I didn't have back where I was living 2 months ago is really nice. So I'm thankful for the way that's going. And I have friends from work too that I hang out with. So ultimately there's just so much more going on. There's been a lot of transition that's had to go into it. You know, not only just being in a new place, being surrounded by new people, starting a new job, but you know, it's been definitely a change of pace. Another thing is the house that we have out here has kind of a separate guest space, and that's actually where I've been staying. I've been kind of separated from where my family's been living, which has been just absolutely incredible for independence since I'm not in school right now. It's been really, really lovely to have my own space and to do my own cooking when I get home from work, and just to be able to control more of my time and my day. But it has involved adding grocery shopping and cooking into my schedule and maintaining my own space and things like that. Really committing, if I want to spend time with my family, to actually finding the time to do that. And then on top of that, I'm still making all the content that I'm making and working pretty consistently. So there have been a lot of things that have been different and new, and I've just really had to acclimate to those things. And it's been kind of a season surprisingly plagued by anxiety, just because of all of those things that have, you know, forced me to change and to grow in independence and to evaluate what really matters to me. And for probably the first 3 to 4 weeks that I was out here, I just really was anxious a lot of the time. If I'm honest, it still is definitely a big thing right now. And obviously you've known from the music that I've put out, I literally put out a song called Anxiety, that it's been something that I've struggled with a lot of this year, just as I've been pursuing music and pursuing a career and going headfirst into what I feel is my passion and my purpose. It's come with a lot of anxiety because I think the faster I move, the more stressed I get. In the past maybe week or 2 weeks, I've really been trying to rely on the Lord and be reintroduced to his love. And back when I was doing my gap year, which you can hear about in my life story video that I made a couple months back, I really was in tune to the voice of the Lord and his love for me and his plan for me. And that was something that really sustained me throughout the day. I think always knowing when I needed to spend time with the Lord and actually acting on that. You know, anxiety has been something that I've always just kind of lived with and held with me, but there was maybe a week or a couple days where it really started to inhibit me. I kind of realized, okay, I need to come back to that place of intimacy with God. So I've been reading the book Love Secrets by John Mark Pantana, who is a fantastic Christian artist. He has a book that kind of explains a lot of his thought processes and moments with the Lord that brought him to writing the album that he did, Love Secrets. It's really been kind of reframing my perspective on my relationship with God in tandem with kind of a thought process I've been having a lot lately about comparing earthly marriage to the marriage between Christ and the church. Thinking of myself as Christ's bride has helped me a lot with accepting that love and coming back into just a really loving and understanding relationship with God. So there's a lot there and a lot that I'm still thinking about, and a lot that just is too big for words right now. Have been really doing that to try to cope with the transition and the anxiety of all of the crazy things going on right now. I won't say too much about the trips that I went on. I was saying a ton about those in my recap videos, but I think you've gotten what you needed from this video. But yeah, again, I have photos and videos and things I can share from some of my trips if you wanted to see some of that. But in May, I did a ton of traveling. Well, April through May. And I got to see a lot of my friends again. Somehow it all just kind of happened that everything lined up so that I saw everyone within like a month. So first I got to go back to Montana where I did my gap year. Just got to spend a week with those same people, and it was really great to kind of meet back with all of them and hear about where they had been since our gap year. And one of the things that was really interesting about that trip was hearing about all the things that we had been taught during our gap year, the ways that our perspectives had stayed the same or shifted from those things. So there were a lot of things that we had grown in and said, wow, this really shaped my perspective now. And also a lot of things that we said, we learned this back then and we weren't really sure if it was true, and we diverted from those perspectives. So it was really interesting to, with time, see what that gap year did to all of us, and that was really great. I had the privilege of going to New York for 25 hours with my best friend for my birthday. I was dead set on seeing Moulin Rouge one more time before Aaron Tveit left the cast, because I posted about this on Instagram. You can check that out if you want more information on that. But I kind of grew up with the show. I was 15 the first time I saw it, and then saw it for my 19th birthday. So I'd seen it 4 times within then, and it just grew to be something that I absolutely adored. It had always kind of been there through a lot of my really pivotal life moments. So I really wanted to see it before the main cast all left, and I got to with my best friend, and it was incredible. So we got to do that for 25 glorious hours, had some good food, saw some good shows, spent some good time together. And then I went to California for a week. We went on our annual road trip, which this is our second year doing, so annual is still a title we're aspiring to. But we went to Big Bear Lake, stayed in a cabin, and just spent a lot of time talking and singing and cooking and playing games and catching up with each other. We FaceTime pretty regularly, but it's just so different to be able to be together in person and do life together for even just a week. There was a ton of travel in those couple of weeks, and I got to see pretty much all of my friends, and it was just absolutely incredible. The ultimate reason why I'm making this video now is because I get to go to New York again soon, and I'm planning on vlogging that. I wanted to show you everything that's kind of happened in my life before that, because I knew that I'd be referencing a lot of these things in that vlog. So yeah, it's gonna be a blast. Gonna see some shows, talk to some studios, get some really good food, and I'm excited to share that with you. Thank you for watching this video. If you made it this far, I really appreciate that you're sticking around to be a part of this. Just experience this journey with me. I know we are few right now, but I'm so thankful for every one of you. And whether or not I respond to everything, I see all of you, I see all your names, all your faces, and I'm very thankful for you that you're here and that you're part of it. If you want to see anything else, I do have a ton of videos posted recently that you can check out on my playlist or just on my main channel. Tons of acoustic things and demos and covers and all of that. You can also check out my Instagram, my SoundCloud, my TikTok, my Pinterest now for a bunch more music content and some other things. Instagram, you're gonna get a lot of life updates. Pinterest, you're gonna get a lot of really aesthetic photos. Go check me out on there, and they're all linked in the description. And if you have any ideas of things that you'd like to see, any other songs that you've heard snippets of that you would like to hear the entirety of, or life things that you would like to hear me talk about, any of that, please let me know. You can DM me or respond in a comment on this YouTube video, and I would love to make that for you. I hope you're doing so well, that your summer has been amazing so far, or wherever you're from, your winter, whatever it may be. And I'm looking forward to catching up with you soon. Bye.